Hi everybody. This is Cindy and Jeff. I'm Cindy Hoisington from Education Development Center, and this is my partner.
And I'm Jeff Winokur from Education Development Center and from Wheelock College.
And today we want to talk about and demonstrate how to plant some different things with children. And we're going to use some pea seeds today. We're going to use some garlic bulbs, and we're also going to bud some twigs. And so this video, whoever finds it useful, we'll be happy to hear about that. Mainly we're thinking about early childhood teachers in preschool and elementary school. We're thinking about family child care providers, and we're also thinking about parents and families who want to support their children's science learning at home, specifically around planting. So we're going to start off. Jeff, you're going to get us started off on pea seeds.
I am. And we've used these experiences with kids for many, many years, and we have chosen them very carefully. And Cindy and I will be talking about why we make these choices. But the first thing we're going to show you is how to plant pea seeds without soil. And so what we're using right now is some packaged pea seeds packed for planting in the garden, and here they are. This is what they look like. There's paper towel and a plastic cup, and that's all you need to get pea seeds really going. What the first step is to
spill the water.
Spill a little water, and we're going to soak it up with this towel. And I've got the towel right here because we need this. And what we're going to do is take the towel, fold it up, and place it in the cup just so that it pushes out to the side. And then we're going to carefully put the 4 pea seeds in 4 different places near the top of the cup. We don't want the seeds to be submerged. And what we'll have eventually is a cup, clear plastic cup, with paper towel placed in the middle, and the seeds pushed to the outside. Then what we're going to do is use some water and get this paper towel nice and wet.
Jeff, you might want to use this spray bottle. It might, so that you don't collect too much water at the bottom.
Well, initially, Cindy, you need a lot of water.
Oh, okay.
And then afterwards, we're going to use the spray bottle. But right now, you need to be...
Wow, you're really pouring it in.
I am, because I know these paper towels will soak up a lot of water.
Ah, interesting.
And they soak up a lot of water, and initially it's really important to have the seed pretty wet, but the only thing you want to do is after the first day make sure it's nice and damp. So a spray bottle, as Cindy indicated, is really helpful. Now, we can do this, and let me show you what happens in just a couple of weeks. Here we have some examples of pea plants already needing to be supported with a dowel. And the paper towel is just moist. Feel that, Cindy. Tell me what you think.
Yes, very moist.
It's very moist, but it's not...
But there's no water at the bottom.
No water at the bottom. So the paper towel is absorbing the water, keeping the seeds moist. And what we can do with the plastic cup is see the roots, and we can see, of course, the stems and the leaves as they grow up. And one of the reasons we choose this method is that you can really see. Otherwise, if we had soil, we couldn't see. And to show people that you don't really need soil.
And that's a big surprise, sometimes for children, but also for the adults.
That's right. You don't need soil to grow many plants. We may or may not get edible pea plants, pea pods out of this, because they don't, the paper towel doesn't have the proper minerals. But it certainly can get you a good view into how pea plants grow, how they germinate and grow.
And in the future, we might be talking about, in a different video, how to transplant some of these into soil.
Which you can do, absolutely.
So I actually have a couple questions for you, Jeff, that I know that adults frequently have when they do these kinds of activities with children. And I see teachers often use dried packaged beans from the supermarket, and I noticed that you did not use those. Any reason?
It's just a personal preference. It's certainly a lot cheaper, and you can get many more seeds by doing that for less money. The reason I choose packaged plant seeds is because they're bred to be used for purposes like this, for growing. These are bred more for eating. They're not necessarily treated in ways that help them grow. However, you can get great plants from those. It's just a little iffier.
Okay, good. And you use pea seeds. You did not use lima beans, which is something that I often see, and I'm just wondering if there was any reason for that choice.
Well, all of these seeds offer wonderful opportunities for people's learning. Lima beans are wonderful because they're big, and you can look into them very easily. Shall we open one up and move the water first so that people can see this? And so maybe we should open that up if you don't mind.
Oh, sure.
Now, I've chosen pea seeds because I've found over a number of years, I've tried many bean seeds, and the pea seeds seem to be the fastest, and they rot a little bit less often than the bean seeds.
Rotting can be a big problem.
Rotting can be a problem. That's one
so
of the
I noticed that you really emphasize the idea of not too much water in the cup for the same reason.
Now, one more thing I'd like to show you, though. Here's an example of a dry pea seed. And then I also have a germination tray, which is just some paper towels on a tray. They've been moistened, and I put them yesterday on these paper towels. Notice the difference between the pea seed of today and the pea seed of yesterday that has been soaking.
It's about at least twice as big.
It's amazing. So you can use things like this to also see how plants begin, how seeds germinate, and how they begin to develop, what that sequence is. And again, usually that's a mystery when it's done in soil.
Exactly, and that's something that you've emphasized nicely that we didn't say at the outset, is that all the planting today that we're doing is without soil. So we really want children to be able to see the different parts of the plants growing, particularly the roots. And we want to, as you said, challenge that early misconception that plants have to have dirt in order to grow. One more question, Jeff, again, one that comes up commonly with teachers. I often see teachers use baggies. So they do very similar to what you did. They put paper towels in baggies, soak them, put the seeds in, and then often hang them in a sunny window and are dismayed to find the next day or 24 or 48 hours later that not only are the seeds rotting, but the smell is pretty bad.
Yeah.
So I noticed that you did not use baggies. You didn't
And
mention baggies.
I don't like to use baggies because they are enclosed. They do a couple of things. One, as you said, is they rot relatively quickly, but you do get a chance to see the beginning parts of germination. What you get to see here is the plant continuing to grow, and that's something you don't get to see with baggies. So this particular plant has been going 3 weeks. So usually baggies are, because of the smell, are out of the classroom pretty quickly. Not in all classrooms, but often that's the case.
Okay, great. So I just want to wind up the bean portion of our day, the pea portion of our day, I should say, by making a couple of points. One, that many companies that produce classroom materials do make seed starters. Jeff and I want to emphasize that it is not necessary to buy or purchase equipment. In other words, your peas or your beans will not grow any better in something like this than they do in the plastic cup. And one other point, and this is just because I'm always accumulating cotton balls at my house. I don't know about other people. Jeff, I don't know if you're accumulating cotton balls at your house.
I'm a fan of paper towels.
If you don't have paper towels, but you do happen to have a lot of cotton balls, then those can also be used in planting the pea seeds or the bean seeds the way that Jeff has done in the paper cup. So, on to garlic.
So what we'll do now is take a look at garlic, and garlic is a really wonderful, wonderful classroom tool because it grows so quickly and can be forced so easily. So here we have a head of garlic.
That's a huge head of garlic.
It's a big one, but it's
Is that an elephant garlic?
No, well, at least it didn't say it was. Just regular old garlic from the store. And I'm going to pull off a clove. And here we have a clove of garlic. And again, it is large, so we can see pretty well what we're after here. It's got a flat side, and that's the bottom. And then it curls a little bit, and it comes to a little point at the top. So we'll call this the bottom and this the top. And what we do is just take toothpicks and put 3 toothpicks in the garlic. And what's nice about garlic is it's really got 3 sides to it. There's a fourth side here too, which you could if you want it to be more stable. But right now it's very stable with 3 toothpicks. I've just stuck them in, and I've left enough room so that we can put the bottom of the garlic in water. And all we do is leave it. And one of the marvelous things about garlic is within 24 to 48 hours, we can pull it up, take a look, and see teeny tiny roots begin. And
That quickly?
That quickly. And within 3 or 4 days, we really get very visible roots. And that's much faster than almost anything I know. And I'd like to show you, Cindy, would you mind pulling over? These are garlic bulbs that we have forced. And we started these, I'd say, about 3 weeks ago. I started in a small cup like this one. And you've noticed that the roots are very crowded, but here the roots are. And they sort of bunch together, but look how many roots there are, how long they are, and notice also that it now has a green shoot. If you put it in a larger cup, you can see the roots extend a little bit further. And again, this is just 2 or 3 weeks, and we have this much growth already. So it's marvelous for the classroom.
Yeah, and kids can actually see a difference from day to day as they come to observe.
That's right, and you can actually take it out of the water for brief amounts of time and take a look
at
at
the roots with your hand lens.
With your hand lens.
So, quick, just logistical question, Jeff. Do you have to change the water, and how careful do you need to be about the water level in here?
Well, the most important thing is that the roots are always touching water, and initially when there are no roots, the bottom has to be touching water. So I put it pretty deep in the water here. That'll be fine because the water will evaporate, and then of course some of the water will be taken up by the roots once they start, but I imagine most of it's from evaporation. And then as long as the roots are in the water, notice that this garlic clove is above the water, but the roots are in the water.
So the bulb doesn't actually have to be in the water.
Not once it has, not once the roots have started to come out.
Okay, great. I just wanted to throw out a couple of other bulbs that people might want to try. And onions is just a regular old onion and a scallion that I think you could probably use. And again, I'm going to admit to you, Jeff, only that I've actually not planted these bulbs in water. I have planted an onion just like this directly in the soil, again, with looking for the flat side to grow down.
And may I just show you that the flat side also has roots here, remnants of dried out roots, so that's how you know it's the bottom.
There you go. But I'm thinking I would love to put toothpicks in this. Of course, it wouldn't fit in a little medicine cup like that, so I might want to use something a little bit larger, like my cut-down soda bottle, and do the same thing and see what happens. That would be really interesting to do with children.
That would be.
One of the things, and I can't help it because I'd love to, but another kind of a seed that this same method you're using might work with is an avocado seed. And so maybe you would want to, and this one's actually already started to crack a little bit.
Oh, yes. And so you have to figure out which is the bottom, of course. And here we see a little flat part on the bottom, and the top is a little pointier. So that's how we know which is the bottom and which is the top. And we can put, do you mind, Cindy, if I put a toothpick in?
No, I don't mind at all. I'd love to see.
So we'll have to force the toothpick in there.
I was just looking for a cup.
Well, we have one here. We've got one right here.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't want your garlic to be out of the water for too long.
Yeah, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. So there we have, and many of you have done this with avocados, we know. But
the trick with avocados that I learned is that I have gotten rid of many an avocado seed and simply not given it enough time.
They take a little
They are not like garlic. They take weeks and weeks.
So if you're working with young children, as we do, and many of the teachers we work with do, garlic is great because kids don't have to wait around so long to see interesting things.
Yes, absolutely. You definitely don't want to do this with kids and have them checking it every day because they will get very frustrated. One other just logistical point, you do want to change the water frequently when you plant an avocado seed because you'll see that the water will get cloudy and it will smell a little bit.
Yes.
Okay, good. So we're on to budding twigs.
Yes, we are. The last thing we'll show you today is how to force other kinds of plants.
Yes, and what can I Oh, I can ship these
Just
twigs
pull,
over here.
yeah, just, now what I've done is gone around and just cut some twigs, and there's some shears over there too, Cindy, would you mind?
Sure.
And these twigs can, be careful of your eyes. So just take some regular old garden shears. These are really, they may look fancy to you from where you sit, but they're really dull. They're not very good garden shears. You can use good scissors too. And I've just gone around to a couple of different bushes and cut them and put them in water. And we just did that today. And this one seems to be moving, so it's not, we want to hold it in one place. Forsythia, which is the standard one in New England, because it'll begin to have yellow flowers in the next week or two.
Uh-huh.
And then this one is one that's an invasive, but I like it because it has very interesting bark, and that's called burning bush, but it's also called flying euonymus. At least
That
I've heard
is
that.
really has an interesting texture, doesn't it?
Yeah, so you can do this with any twig. You can cut a twig, just put it in water and wait. Some are faster than others. Some have flowers before leaves, others have leaves before they have flowers, and some will actually root, so you can plant them.
Interesting. So you could actually just go around with children and kind of experiment and cut some twigs off of different bushes.
As long as the neighbors don't mind.
As long as the neighbors don't mind, yes, you always have to check with the neighbor. One other thing, Jeff, that I just wanted to add, and I'm sure some people may have done this before, is to get a cutting, from an indoor plant, house plant that you might have. And this is just from a philodendron in my front hallway. And I noticed right when I cut it this morning that it already has, some things growing, some longer pieces, and then some little bumpy looking pieces growing. And how interesting to kind of look at those with a hand lens and then see what happens when
I wonder what's going to happen over time with those.
So, well, we have one that's been growing for a month or so, and you can see that quite a bit has happened here. And again, quite an extensive root system. One of the things, again, that's interesting is, the roots don't always come from where you expect them to. So in other words, we have some growing from right here up from the middle of the stem.
Not the bottom of the plant, but some at this little juncture here.
Yes, not right from the bottom, which is kind of what people and children certainly often expect
I wonder,
to see.
with philodendron out where they live in their natural environment, I wonder how this helps the plant. There must be some reason that happens.
Really, that's a really good question, and I think that's something that we might want to continue to think about with children and ourselves as well. Well, Jeff and I are really happy that you joined us today. We hope this video has been helpful to you in your work with children around science, particularly around living things and planting. And we hope you have fun planting and observing plants and talking and thinking about them as well with your children.
Thanks a lot, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.